All right, everyone. My name is Matthew Blakeney. I'll be running this Complete Streets Advisory Committee. Right now, if you're online, you should be able to see a slide deck appearing right now. Please let me know if it's not. And I guess we'll get to it. This meeting also, by the way, is being recorded. So again, if you don't consent, please log off. Otherwise, we will continue recording. All right. So just for the agenda today, we're going to do our introductions. As you know, Clea left. I will be taking over as the transit replacement for traffic. We'll then be talking about some ongoing initiatives like safe routes to school near Edgewood Elementary School, some resurfacing info, and some speed hump design info. And then we would like to present a project spotlight with one of our engineer ones, Justin, who's on the call, and he'll be going over some improvements around Patterson Park, and then we'll have public forum. Just as a quick roll call for the commissioners, so I'm here for transportation. Do we have anyone from Public Works? All right, we'll take that as a no. Austin, I see you on here.
Yep.
And same with Jason, I see you on here. And then do we have Chief Eames? I'll go that. So we don't have Chief Eames. Sorry, everyone. All right, let's continue on then. So, as we said, we're going to go over some ongoing initiatives like safe routes to school, resurfacing and speed hump design. So just for everyone who's not familiar with safe routes to school, right, this is a federally funded program to encourage safe walking, rolling, biking, or scooting to school and focus on projects that benefit mostly elementary and middle school kids, grade K-8 through 9. And then this project we're highlighting today was focused on Edgewood Elementary Middle School. It has some safety improvements around Gwynns Parkway and Chelsea Street, and up to 55 crosswalks in the immediate neighborhood, which is obviously a very big lift. So this is just some, again, of the high level work we would, provide this to either our maintenance team or a contractor install, but where you can see adding all those crosswalks into the neighborhood. Those would be high vis continental crosswalks. Some more crosswalks and then a refresh of stop bars, throughout the neighborhood. Again, continued crossings, right? This just helps identify where the pedestrians be going and help create a visible crossing. So, right, 55 crosswalks, we have a lot to go through here. More examples of that, right? All up and down the neighborhood. So again, creating those pedestrian connections for those kids. And then also some modifications by Gwynns Parkway where it narrows down to a single lane. So this is just helping create a more defined travel path to help provide guidance to the driver, help position them correctly, and then also refreshing those crosswalks. So just before I go on, any questions or comments on the project? All right. Next, we'll go on to resurfacing. So this was covered on MBAC earlier in the month, but as part of our resurfacing program, we are starting to do bike master plan overlays with the 2017 separated master plan. We are working on some 2026 concepts, but right now, for the current, we have one separate facility for FY 2025, and are planning to start community engagement for that soon. That is actually now live. That is Roland Avenue from 34th Street to 40th Street, and in particular, the bike master plan overlays with 36th Street to 40th Street. So, please visit Streets of Baltimore. You can see more about the project there, and then we'll be posting our community engagement on that website. And then kind of as hinted before, we were looking at our FY 2026 list and developing concept plans, getting quantities for that material. Another initiative we're working on is bike-friendly speed humps. So, right, we already have some standard designs in the book of standards for Baltimore City on this, but we're looking to increase that capacity, increase that tool belt. And just as a background, there are two ways to make a speed hump bike friendly. One is looking at the grades, and that's what we would call hump, right? The grades, the geometry of that actually hump. And then the next is to do a cushion, which is to provide gaps for the cyclists to cut through and also emergency vehicles, but not necessarily for cars. And that's really looking at like the wheel well base, so redesigning around a fire truck apparatus versus a standard car. That's how you would do that. Right, and with everything in our designs, we must balance convenience with impact to traffic calming. So if you make it too easy to drive over or bike over, then it's not going to serve as good as a traffic calming device. And then same with if you put too many cuts or the cuts are too conveniently placed, people can drive through them. So we're always trying to balance this out. And then, as always, we look at deploying our speed humps or cushions based on tools like 85th percentile, the curves and blind spots on the roadway, and the roadway type. Just a little more visualization of that. Right here's your cushions up top. Again, has the slots and cuts, and then bottom is the hump. So you're using grades and geometry to make that convenient. As mentioned a little earlier too, right, we have three standard designs. These are all in the 578 series. So if you look up the book of standards linked below, you'll find these. And we'll go through these kind of case by case. So right, the 578.0 one is actually your traditional speed hump. And why we use St. Lo, this is kind of like an exaggerated version, right? This is almost closer to a table. It gives you the idea that your grades and geometries are made in such a way that it is still convenient or safe for a bike to go through, but also providing that vertical direction required for traffic calming. Here's an O2 example on Covington Street. So right again, the slots are here that you can bike through them, but they're not quite set that you can drive through them. And finally, here's your 57803 example. It's very similar to the Covington one, but it's smaller and it's meant for a one-way street. So right, you just have one cut for the cyclist, and then you can drop this down on a 24-foot wide road, whereas the one before was about 34 feet required. Some other things we're doing, we're just looking at what our peers do and trying to get some background information. So the city of Portland, Oregon is actually very helpful in sharing their speed hump designs with us and having a conversation on that and just kind of, showing what's in their arsenal, how they approach that. And I think the biggest thing what we've learned from this is actually from their um speed channel cut design. So right, ours right now is 3 feet wide. Theirs is 2 feet at the top, 1 foot at the bottom. So we can just look at using this in our cuts, and then it allows us, right? If you can pull that channel cut in, it allows you to then make the speed humps, or sorry, speed cushions smaller, and then you can place them on more roads. So before I go on to our project spotlight, does anyone have any further questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Matt.
Sure.
For
Is
those,
this
this is
Eames?
this is Shawnees from Fire. So I know that you are looking at revamping how you approve any new humps. Will the fire department still be part of that actual process? Because there was a significant number of projects that the fire department did not have any chance to look at to provide, any of our comments to.
Yeah, that. Let me get with our operations team, Danny, and all, and let my supervisor know. And we can note this as kind of like a follow-up for this. Because yeah, you guys should be getting notified. And if you're not, then that needs to be, yes, escalated to our operations team.
Okay.
So I'll put an email together and I'll just start that conversation off. And
Yeah. I mean, because for the most part, we don't have opposition to most of the roads and streets that you're putting the humps on, but there are others that we would have an opposition to, especially if it's classified as principal arterial or minor arterial, and
yeah,
some of the collectors as well. Again, we would like to just basically to weigh in on it, and also to advise all of those fire stations in the area when those new humps will be coming too. Because imagine them running a call in the middle of the night and they don't even know that it's there. So
yeah, exactly. So again, I'll make the introduction to operations. If you have like a list of those areas or something, just put that together in the next week or so, and then we can share it on the email. And if we need to follow up with something more, you can keep in regular contact with me, and we'll work that as an item.
so actually, to not hold up progress in the
Mm,
meeting, do you keep a map at DOT of all the projects that you have put in the past year or two? Do y'all keep that type of map or
I don't know.
repository?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a repository on hand, like a GIS layer, but we do have. So, like, one is in the complete streets report. We have to gather that data to then report it out. So we should have some geographic data to say, like, here's where we put all the installations in, and we can trace that back like for a year or two. So I think that's very feasible.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Any other commissioners or others? All right. Next, we're going to move on to our project spotlight. This is improvements to the Patterson Park area. We're going to have our engineer Justin go over this. Justin, would you like me just to click through the slides while you talk?
Yes, please. I can let you know when to move on from a slide.
Awesome. All right. Take us away.
Right. So hello everyone. As Matthew introduced me, my name is Justin Holland. I am an engineer with the traffic division. I've been with the city for a little under a year and a half now. This project was brought to my attention. We wanted to just improve some of the pedestrian features with access to the park. I believe there are about 27 crossings that lead to the park. Also, I believe it's Hampstead Hill Elementary School uses this park as a recess area for their children and their students. So that was definitely something we wanted to take into consideration when we were looking at all of these crossings to improve upon these safety features. We have about, I want to say, three examples that we're going to go over today,
Mm-hmm.
just to give a pretty general overview of the kind of work that we're going to try to be doing in this area.
Yep. And yeah, we only have, like you said, Justin, three that we're going to go over as a high level. All right.
So starting off with Patterson Park and Lombard Street, this is a signalized intersection. Crossings are already existing. These aren't the high visibility continental crossings that we like to use where we can. So we're going to be upgrading these so they're more visible for pedestrians as well as motorists using the road. And we also noticed here there were some issues with some vehicles parking in the intersection itself along the eastern side of the intersection where the signal is located. So we're going to be adding a bump out here just to combat that. And we were also making note of any bus routes that go through here, any bus stops. There aren't any bus stops at this intersection in particular, but it is a part of an MTA route as noted in the slide. You can move on to the next one, Matthew.
Awesome.
So moving on to Eastern Ave and Luzerne Ave. As you can see here, there is another issue with parking in the middle of the intersection. So we couldn't add a bump out here just because there is a bus stop here, and adding a bump out would take away from the pull-off area that the buses need. So what we're gonna try and do here is we're gonna hatch the park side of the intersection, which would be that northern leg, to combat that parking. We're going to be upgrading these to continental crossings as well, just making sure that motorists can see where there's going to be pedestrians crossing, as well as if there are pedestrians within the crossing. And if I am not mistaken, there should be some of the state law signage here as well, with the state law stop for pedestrians, just reinforcing that idea of pedestrian safety and improving the access to the park.
Next slide.
Yes, please.
All right.
And last but not least, we have Eastern Avenue and Lakewood Avenue. Non-signalized intersection, also a part of the Navy route for the MTA bus. There is a stop present here as well. And another one of these issues where we're seeing parking within the intersection itself. So we are gonna bump out the northern leg just because the bus stop is on the south side of the intersection, which enables us to do that. And then we're gonna be upgrading these to continental crossings as well. Not too much. I don't think this is any crazy sort of work, but I do think that these small improvements are going to be very beneficial for the students in the area as well as any residents who want to just enjoy the park.
Awesome. And yeah, agreed. I think there's a lot of evidence, right, that points to, right, making the more high visibility crosswalks and adding bump outs or these traffic calming features can help increase that pedestrian safety. Do any of our commissioners have any questions or comments? Okay. Now we'll open up to public forum. So there's anyone who's not a commissioner, please feel free to ask questions or make comments. Going once, going twice. And I think we're done. So just as again a follow-up, Chief Eames, I will put you in contact with our operations team about the speed hump process and just making sure they're reaching out to you. And then Chief Eames, just to clarify, did you want me to pull that data for you so then you can look through and just kind of see like, hey, here's what we know, like kind of do a comparison of what you know versus what you don't know? Is that the goal? All right, I'll get with Chief Eames after this then. All right, thank you all. Appreciate it. I'm now going to stop the recording.